You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science Comics YouTube channel. I am Jim, and I'm going to be reviewing Marvel's Spider-Man India #1, written by Nikesh, Shukla, and art by Abhishek, Malsuni. Full disclosure to start out this review, I know next to nothing about Spider-Man India. I saw him a bit in the end of the Spider-Verse comics, but I haven't seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and since I'm a grown man, I may never see it. Actually, I'm just nervous that the animation style will make me sick, and I don't want a repeat of what happened when I watched Into the Spider-Verse. Nobody wants a repeat of that. So, I'm going into this issue as one thing and one thing only, a comic book fan. Wait a minute, strike that. I am going into this issue as two things and two things only, a comic book fan and a reviewer who actually wants to give a good score to any current Spider-Man comic book. Let's see if Spider-Man India can leap that low bar right after I ask everyone to subscribe to the channel, like the video, enable notifications, and let me know what you thought of Spider-Man India #1 in the comments below. I'll admit that I was a bit confused when this issue began. We get Spider-Man India, Paviter, chilling in the 616 when Miles Morales is suddenly thrown through the scene, and then Peter Parker shows up just in time to fight, as Paviter ironically calls a cultural appropriation of Mysterio. And I haven't seen a good 3-on-1 since my wife put a parental lock on my computer, so I was kind of excited for this, but then disappointed that we didn't get more here. Sadly, not as disappointed as my wife is with me, but hey, the issue isn't over yet. After our three spider heroes eat and joke in what I pray was the Max from Saved by the Bell, it's off to Earth 50101, which is close enough for me to now wish I said the Peach Pit a second ago. Now, nonsense pop culture references aside, I was confused again with what was going on here. I mean, I understand that we're back on Paviter's Earth, but I guess I was expecting a tiny bit of transition to get us there. I mean, even if we had him say, hey, I had a groovy time with you cats, but I'm splitting this scene and heading off to my own crib, you know, how the kids down at the skate park talk, that might have given me something. At first, I thought it was a flashback to show something that happened before that they were then going to talk about. I got really confused. It's not a big deal. You just kind of go with the flow. But there are those points in this issue that just made me scratch my head. Now, Shukla does give us a little background information to Spider-Man India, name drops that get us to where we need to go. But where are we actually heading to? Unfortunately, it all just feels like a generic and cliched version of a story that most Spider-Man fans have read 100 times already. And listen, I understand that one of the things about the multiverse is that there are those similarities. That's why we don't bat an eye that most Earths have a Spider-Man, a Batman, and unfortunately probably a grown man who reviews comics and has a parental lock on his computer. But that's just the springboard to the actual cool stuff that most people are looking for in these stories, and that's the differences. The similarities aren't going to end up wowing anyone. It's the differences that you need to show. And in this issue, we don't get more except the change of scenery. Giving the Lizard story a Mumbai flair doesn't feel like enough here. And I'm hoping there is some sort of twist in the next issue, because without it, I'm afraid most people will bail. I do want to offer some advice real quick before moving on, though. If you find yourself at a symposium of any kind and ask a very, very simple question, but instead of getting an answer, the speaker invites you to a private tour of his lab, assume the worst. What I'm saying is don't go. Run away. You will thank me later. Now, if you choose to ignore me and every sensible thought you have going through your head at that time and actually go to the lab and then notice there's a dentist chair with a spiked dog collar, please take those last moments of your innocence and just admit that I was right. Seriously, screw Spidey sense. This is just good old-fashioned common sense. Like most things nowadays, though, nobody has that, and I blame TikTok. I just blame TikTok for it all. While all this is going on, though, we get another cliched bit with Giri Sahib, the head of Giri Corp, who wants to buy up the slums, get rid of Spider-Man, and possibly is the Hulk India. I don't know. Spider-Man India is the type of comic that you're not going to outright hate, but you may, if you're like me, just wonder why you're reading it by the end. It doesn't feel fresh or exciting like that Kool and the Gang song. And as far as the art goes, I do want to give editor Nick Lowe some credit here, because boy, it takes a lot of balls to know that the only reason you're putting this book on the shelves is to try and grab fans who just watched the Across the Spider-Verse movie, yet pick an art style that is the exact opposite of that movie. Bravo, Nick. Bravo. And as an aside, I love your song, Cruel to Be Kind, one of my favorites of all time. Now, all right, all of this aside, I'm going to give this book a 5 out of 10. And here's the thing. While I usually have a 3-issue rule for every new book, if the next issue doesn't wow me, I think I'll be done with it, just like I am done with this review. So thanks, everybody, for watching. And instead of being smart and linking to videos of my own here at the end, I'm going to give links to 2 of the songs that I mentioned in the video. And that's just a little bit of a present from me to you. So everybody enjoy, and I'll talk to you all later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.